Coming up on Eagles now, could the Birds trade for Jonathan Taylor? Is Howie Roseman eyeing the safety market? The Kelly green jerseys, they are so icy and officially on sale. We're also going to go over an amazing Jalen Hurts story, which really goes to show you the type of person, athlete, and competitor that number one is. But first, we begin with the release of the Kelly green jerseys. The Eagles making this official over the weekend, and oh my, aren't they beautiful? And these jerseys officially went on sale this morning, especially at all of the Philadelphia Eagles pro shops. There's one in Lancaster. There's one right outside of Lincoln Financial Field in South Philadelphia. Fans were tailgating in anticipation for the release of these jerseys. At 3:30 this morning, they were lined up outside of Lincoln Financial Field looking to get into the Eagles pro shop to get their hands on these threads. And there are two dates as of now in which the Eagles are going to be throwing it back and rocking the Kelly greens. October 22nd, it's a home game against the Miami Dolphins in primetime. And then about a month later against the Buffalo Bills on November 26th. So if you love these Kelly green jerseys, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. And I think it's really cool, the marketing behind this movement from the Eagles organization when they have Jalen Hurts in a locker room with a magazine with Randall Cunningham on it. Josh Sweat has an old school boom box, and the locker room setting looks as though it came from something out of the early 1990s, and it makes you think of Reggie White, Jerome Brown, Ron Jaworski, Randall Cunningham. And for these threads to come back, I think they're some of the freshest uniforms, not just in the National Football League, but in all of sports. So if you're with me, so fresh, so clean, hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. And if you want to pre-order some of your Kelly green jerseys, multiple players, multiple sizes, men, women, and kids jerseys, all available here at the link right below me, shotsports.com/Kelly Green. Jalen Hurts, Jason Kelce, two of my personal favorites. We're going to put that link in the comment section and in the description of this video because many people were waiting outside the pro shop in order to physically get their jerseys. If you want to order them, we can help you out because not everybody was able to wait in line this morning, and a lot of you are watching from all across the globe, all across the country. We have you hooked up. Just use that link down below. My Kelly Green power rankings, these are the jerseys that I would get from 1 through 5. I think my number one jersey and the one that I'm going to get, it's going to be Jason Kelce. It never ages. He's one of the best centers of all time, if not the best center of all time. And he's a Philadelphia legend and an all-time Eagles legend. That's a jersey that you can have forever. For instance, when I was younger, I knew that I wanted a Brian Dawkins jersey because that would never age. You can say the same thing about Jason Kelce. At number 2, Jalen Hurts. He's the franchise quarterback, very likable guy, easy to root for, and it's all of our hope that he is going to be this team's starting quarterback for a really long time. The number 1 also looks clean on the jersey as well. Checking in at number 3, Brandon Graham. Like Jason Kelce, another Eagles legend, been here for more than a decade. They helped bring the lone Lombardi trophy back to South Philadelphia. I also like his vivacious personality. At number 4, this might surprise some people. You might go A.J. Brown. I'm going Devontae Smith. Homegrown product. Could rewrite the history books as far as wide receivers go in the history of this Eagles organization. He's 2 years into his career after winning the Heisman Trophy at Alabama. Year 1 set the record for the most receptions for a rookie in a single season. Then year 2 set the overall record for the most catches in a single season, and I think he's only going to continue to do that. While you might hit pause, he's going into year 3. If the Eagles exercise that 5th-year option, that's 2 more years of team control after this year. But are they going to give him a contract extension or let him walk in what is going to be a very lucrative wide receiver market? I hope he's a bird for a long time. Then Hassan Reddick. He's an elite player at a really important position, and he's from the Philadelphia area right across the bridge in New Jersey. Now let's get to Jalen Hurts. This story right here is classic Jalen Hurts, and it goes to show you the type of competitor he is and how self-motivated he is. The background wallpaper on his phone is a picture of him walking off the field in Arizona after losing the Super Bowl with Kansas City Chiefs colored confetti falling on him. If that's not motivation, what is? And every time you look at your phone, if you're Jalen Hurts now, you're reminded of the heartbreaking defeat against the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 57. He wants to get back there, but he's not just content with getting back to that stage. He wants to win it and bring this city back, their second Lombardi trophy. This was caught when some of the rookies were doing their ritual of singing in front of the entire team. And Jalen Hurts, with this photo here, you can see that the background of his phone as he's about to record some of these rookies singing, because it's always really funny, is the picture of him walking off the field. And here's that official photo that is the wallpaper on his background. You can tell he's already hungry in this picture. And this photo captures so many emotions here. You see all the players on the bench. The Kansas City Chiefs confetti is falling. And Hurts is walking off that field saying, we're going to be back here. Good is not good enough. He wants to be great. And I love the self-motivation tactic that he's utilizing here. Make sure you subscribe to the show for daily and year-round Eagles coverage. Thanks to everybody's support. A couple of days ago, we were able to surpass 47,000 subscribers. Next up, 50K. Let's get there. And if you want informative, entertaining, insightful Eagles analysis year-round and daily, this is your go-to spot. Let's round out the show with some Jonathan Taylor trade talk. This is interesting for so many reasons. The Colts running back has requested a trade out of Indianapolis, and this really all happened after Colts owner Jim Irsay, who's a little bit wonky and weird, had basically said that agents and running backs were practicing in bad faith after they complained about the running back market. Of course, this came to light after the Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, and Tony Pollard franchise tag situation, in which none of those teams gave those running backs contract extensions, and then Saquon Barkley the other day did sign that new deal, which really is a hit on the running back market, in my opinion. Gets a little bit more money put on that one-year deal. What's interesting about Jonathan Taylor here is that Nick Sirianni and Taylor overlapped in 2020. That was the final season for Sirianni under then head coach Frank Reich in Indy. Then Sirianni comes to Philadelphia in 2021. Last year, able to lead this team to the Super Bowl. So Sirianni, who was an offensive coach at the time, offensive coordinator, did coach Jonathan Taylor. Now, Taylor wants to become one of the highest paid running backs in the NFL. The number out there being floated by him and his agent, around $16 million per year. I personally think that's crazy. Jim Irsay had pushed back on running backs who claim the position is underpaid, as I said. And Taylor is entering the final year of his rookie contract. So it's easy to see why he's looking to cash in, because he understands that the running back market is diminished. There's not a lot of longevity at that position. And there are some interesting developments and reports on top of the trade request and the back and forth between Jonathan Taylor and Jim Irsay, and then Jonathan Taylor's agent and Jim Irsay, because Ian Rappaport the other day also quote tweeted something and said, I hope that this relationship is going to be able to be repaired. And Taylor's agent said, I doubt it. So Mike Chappell with this last night, and this started to get the conversation going here. The Colts are considering placing Jonathan Taylor on the non-football injury list per source. He suffered some type of back injury while working out on his own in Arizona, also still rehabbing from January ankle surgery. He's currently on PUP. Stephen Holder also is something similar here. That was a little bit before that previous tweet that Jonathan Taylor reported to training camp complaining of back pain that was deemed to be from a pre-existing issue. The team now considering placing him on that non-football injury list that could result in him not being paid for the regular season. Jonathan Taylor disagrees with all of this. In fact, he's disputing it. He said, number one, I never had back pain, and number two, never reported back pain. Not sure who the sources are, but it's time to find new ones. I could see Jim Irsay contacting some of those reporters, contacting writers, contacting media types, and putting this out there. Because, of course, he's a confident guy. He wants people to be on his side. And Jonathan Taylor's relationship with the Colts organization and the fan base right now seems to be hanging in the balance. Jim Irsay also said that nobody would miss Jonathan Taylor if he was out of the NFL. My goodness, this is a franchise back who just 2 years ago led the NFL in rushing, and since getting drafted by Indianapolis, has turned himself into a very premier offensive player. But is he on the decline? And is that why the Colts don't want to give him a contract extension that he is seeking? And is that why Jonathan Taylor wants this new deal? Because he understands his body's starting to break down and the numbers are starting to go downhill. Last year, according to Sharp Football Analysis, Jonathan Taylor set career lows in yards per carry and expected points added per carry. That's basically the WAR version per play in football, despite facing light boxes at the highest percentage of his career. So when he got these handoffs, career low in yards per carry, despite there being fewer players in the box in his NFL career. Now, you look at what he's done up to this point, the production has certainly been there. Year one as a rookie, 232 carries, 1,100 plus yards, 5 yards per carry. In 2021, he was used like a workhorse. The carries went up by 100. The production went up to 1,800 plus rushing yards, average yards per carry at 5.5. And while he was banged up last year, the ankle injury, that Colts offense was bad. Matt Ryan had an absolute noodle arm. 192 carries, 861 yards in 11 games, and his yards per carry, a career low, but 4.5 is not a number to scoff at. Now, as this pertains to Philadelphia, you do have the Nick Sirianni connection here as they overlapped that 1 year in Indianapolis. But with Jonathan Taylor going into the final year of his rookie contract, the only way that the Eagles make this trade is if it's a 1-year rental. That's the only way that the Eagles even think about it remotely, because the Eagles don't like investing into the running back position. Going into 2023, they are paying all of the backs on their roster. That includes Kenneth Gainwell, DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny, Trey Sermon, and Boston Scott. A combined $7 million. That ranks 23rd in the NFL. Jonathan Taylor's on a rookie deal, so he's affordable this year. But there's no chance that they're going to pay him the $13+ million he might be seeking after his rookie contract expires. So it would be kind of like a C.J. Gardner-Johnson type of trade that we saw last year, right before the regular season, where it's a 1-year rental. You get a really good player for a year, but then they look for some more money on the market, and the Eagles just decide to move on to save that cash and invest it somewhere else, because clearly, 23rd among 32 teams, they don't invest heavily in running back. That's why they let Miles Sanders walk. So what say you? Want to hear from you down in the comment section here. Would you trade for Jonathan Taylor? Just give me a T for trade or a P for pass. Speaking of trades, a report that I saw on Twitter is that Howie Roseman has been, quote, lurking in the safety market. There are two positions on this defense where I think the Eagles could use some upgrades, and it's too early to tell right now. It's at linebacker because Nicholas Morrow kind of struggling, Nakobe Dean hasn't popped, and it's safety. Terrell Edmonds, first-round pick a few years ago by the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's a reason they let him walk. Reed Blankenship, UDFA, he's the other starting safety. If Howie Roseman thinks that both of those positions, or at least one of them, is of concern, I think that Howie, before the season, will once again make that C.J. Gardner-Johnson type of trade and make a move in order to bolster one of those positions. Now, you can take Budda Baker off of that list. He got a pay raise this year and next year. That was negotiated last Thursday. You can also take Kevin Byard off that list because he signed a 2-year contract extension with the Tennessee Titans. Other players that kind of come to mind, a Jeremy Chin of the Carolina Panthers, who Eagles fans clamored for Philadelphia to take a few years ago. Good rookie year. Has kind of struggled a little bit since then. A guy like Antoine Winfield of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if they tank and decide that they want to move on from him, is another player that could come to mind. Whatever happens, we're going to cover it here on the show. If you want to interact with me on Twitter and Instagram, feel free to do so at Chase_Senior. It's the same handle on both platforms. Keep it locked here on Eagles Now for the best Eagles coverage right here on YouTube.